So basically, between 1946 and 1953, researchers from MIT and Harvard, with funding from the US government, alongside Quaker Oats, conducted studies on 74 mentally disabled boys at the Fernald State School. The children were unknowingly fed oatmeal and milk laced with radioactive isotopes of calcium and iron. They claimed the study was to see the nutrient absorption in the human body. And all these documents were declassified during the 90s and led to a 1.85 million settlement to compensate the victims. It all started during the Cold War, where the government was deeply invested in atomic science, not just for weapons, but to see how radiation affects the human body. Researchers found that while experimentation on animals provided good information, the next quote unquote natural step was to finalize the findings by testing humans. So the government funded Harvard and MIT to conduct experiments on humans. During this time, apparently, there were concerns about foods not having enough iron and calcium. And while it isn't entirely clear who approached who, it's believed that the MIT director at the time approached a cereal brand called Quaker Oats. He offered to conduct studies on their oats, and in exchange, they would essentially say their oatmeal is the most nutritionally efficient. With this in mind, Harvard and MIT approached the school with a proposal to create a quote unquote science club where they would provide food, parties, and trips to various places in exchange for allowing them to conduct research. It's not clear whether or not the school knew about the radiation experiments, and it's suggested that they may have thought it was a nutritional research study, and it technically was, but they were also researching to create safety standards for internal radiation exposure. So they lured the children with parties, food, and trips, and laced the oatmeal they gave them with quote unquote low doses of radioactive isotopes in order to trace how the iron and calcium was absorbed and how their bodies handled the internal radiation exposure. So what did they find? It's believed that they found low levels of exposure was unlikely to cause harm. In addition, they learned that iron supplements, like pills, are more effective between meals, and that even though there are compounds in your food that attempt to stop the absorption of calcium and iron, if you have enough calcium and iron in your diet, it doesn't really matter.